On Easter Sunday, April 8, 2007, Nejati Aydin was in the performance of his life. The 36-year-old was playing the role of Jesus Christ in an Easter production.
He loved to serve the Lord. That was his passion.
Born into an Islamic family, Nejati converted to Christianity in 1994.
His family was so upset about his conversion, they even put a gun into his head and asked him to recant, but he did not.
Sitting in the audience that Easter morning were 5 Muslim men who had befriended Nejati. According to Turkish authorities, the men wanted to know more about Christianity.
They were pretending as they were seekers.
10 days later, on April 18th, the men's true intentions would unravel in a brutal attack that would shake Turkey's tiny Christian community. 5 men stormed into Nejati's office on the 4th floor of this building. Armed with kitchen knives, the men tied up Nejati and 2 other Christians, 46-year-old German citizen Tilman Geski and 32-year-old Uğur Yüksel, another Turkish convert from Islam.
Every time I close my eyes, it looks like I can picture things very well. So when I close my eyes, I always see him sitting in the office.
Tilman and Susanna moved to Malatya in 1997. They knew that living here wasn't going to be easy. The city has deep Islamist and nationalistic roots. Anti-Christian sentiments run high here. This was a tense place.
Yes, we know this.
Uğur Yüksel experienced the tension in 2005 when protesters stood outside the same building, accusing him and other believers of using a publishing company to distribute Bibles.
The Bible tells us that when we accept Jesus into our lives, we must be willing to count the cost.
What happened next behind this door is still under investigation, but authorities tell us that for 2 hours the men were repeatedly tortured.
He had lots and lots of bruises and must have been beaten up a lot.
During the torture, the men forced our husbands to recite Islamic prayers and to try to get them to renounce to the Christian faith.
Police were dispatched to the scene after getting calls from a nearby office about suspicious activity. Sources are telling CBN News that as soon as the suspects heard the police coming, they decided to end the lives of the 3 Christians. What did they do to these 3 men?
They cut their throat.
When the police burst through the door, they found the 3 with their hands and legs tied to chairs. Tilman and Nejati were dead, their throats slit open. In this video obtained by CBN News, the police can be seen arresting some of the suspects inside the office. The alleged ringleader tried to escape by jumping from the 4th floor balcony. He is still in the hospital. Uğur was on the floor but still breathing. He was rushed to the hospital but died several hours later. The suspects reportedly told investigators that they killed the men in defense of Islam. All 5 were carrying a letter that read, "This should serve as a lesson to the enemies of our religion. We did it for our country." Do you consider your husband today a martyr for Christ?
Yes, I do. I think he died on the sake of Christ. And I can tell this to my kids, and they know that their father died for Jesus.
I miss him a lot, but I know that my father is up in heaven, having fun with Tilman and Uğur.
The attack was the 3rd against Christians in Turkey. A Catholic priest and a prominent Armenian journalist were killed in the last 12 months. Christians make up less than 1% of Turkey's 70 million people. The rest are Muslims. Evangelicals are even a smaller minority, numbering less than 3,500. Most of them are converts from Islam. The situation for Christians has gotten particularly worse in the last couple of years, especially after repeated negative stories about them in the national media. Take, for example, this particular publication. It says, 10,000 have become Christians. Turkey gripped in fear. Mustafa Akyol, a prominent Turkish journalist, believes that such false claims only fuel the anti-Christian sentiment.
The media, unfortunately, has repeatedly depicted missionaries as the 5th column of Western imperialism. and this Western imperialism supposedly tries to carve up Turkey into pieces.
And it's not just the media. Turkey's National Security Council has listed missionaries and several evangelical groups as threats to the country.
They have set us up as a target for someone or whoever wants to make himself a hero. And, the government, the media is saying that these people are poisoning the minds of individuals and children and youth. And so any youth will get up and say, hey, if I kill one of these, then I'll look good.
Turkey is a secular country. Freedom of religion is guaranteed under the Constitution. But some fear the country is edging towards a religious state ruled by radical Islamists. A few days after their deaths, Susanna and Shemsa publicly forgave their husbands' killers, an act that stunned the community and drew national attention.
We forgive them because Jesus forgave us.
And he said we should love our enemies.
Susanna says her husband found comfort in the words of the prophet Isaiah. His last journal entry quoted Isaiah 61 verses 1 through 3, words that today bring comfort and hope to the family he left behind, and a resolve to stay and finish the work.
The Spirit of the Sovereign Lord is on me, because the Lord has anointed me to preach good news to the poor. He has sent me to bind up the broken hearts, to proclaim freedom for the captives. They will be called oaks of righteousness, a planting of the Lord for the display of his splendor.